You asked and you shall receive. Woo, I've been getting a lot of requests on this one. What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. By popular demand, I'm going to be reviewing in this video the new Tom Ford Forbidden Pink Quad. This is in the creme formula. I'm going to be showing you guys some swatches, some comparisons. We're going to be doing a demo, and most importantly, I'm going to be letting you guys know if this is worth picking up, because as we know, Tom Ford has a very hefty price tag. So if you guys want to hear all of my thoughts on whether or not this new quad is good, then keep watching. And if this is your first time here, then welcome. My name is Sophia. This is my channel where we talk about all things beauty and luxury. I upload content every single week. I do a lot of new luxury beauty releases just like this one. We talk a lot about Tom Ford, Chanel, Dior, a lot of Sephora brands. So if that is of interest to you, then you're in the right place, my friend. Hit that subscribe button to join our fam, and you can also click the notification bell to hear about every time I upload a new video. Friends, you know the drill. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I would very much appreciate that. And as always, I will be linking anything that is on my face today, as well as where you can buy this palette in the description box down below. Let's get into it. All right, party people, let's get into this review. A little bit of context for you. What I've seen Tom Ford do as of late is that they will launch new fragrances seasonally, and then alongside those fragrances, they will launch complimentary makeup collections. So I recently reviewed for you guys the Electric Cherry palette. I'll link that review down below in case you guys are interested. That goes alongside the Electric Cherry fragrance. Well, this collection is sort of rose themed. So Tom Ford came out with the Rose Prick fragrance. So here we have Forbidden Pink. And then alongside this palette, we also got another re-promoted color story, which is called Rose Topaz. That also comes in this limited edition pink packaging. I'll show you guys a close-up of the packaging. It is a beautiful baby pink. I absolutely love it. I feel like it is kind of like a bonus of buying this palette, is that you get that sort of really cool limited edition packaging that you don't get from products that are in, you know, the permanent line. I do not know if the color story Forbidden Pink is a limited edition. I'm looking online and it doesn't say so, but for sure, I'm sure the packaging is limited edition, so I just want to put that out there. Now, the other thing that I want to note is that this is in the color creme formula. This is a new formula that Tom Ford released last year. He released 3 shades of this, and then later on in holiday, he came out with 2 more limited edition colorways, which were like the purples and the khakis. If you are familiar with Tom Ford, then you know what I'm talking about. I actually have a review video reviewing the 3 colorways that are in the permanent lineup. I'll link that down below, where I talk more about the formula. I do in-depth swatches and comparisons with that. And a little bit later on in this video, I am going to compare this palette with the shades from the permanent line. So kind of stay tuned for that. But just a little bit of summary about this formula. This is, it is powdery and blendable, but it has a slight creaminess to it. So you definitely get pigmentation, but there's a really nice softness and blendability to the formula. I really do enjoy it. It's different than the wet dry formula. If you guys saw my Electric Cherry review, you will know that wet dry formula, it has a little bit more of like a sheen, a more airbrush finish, whereas what you get from the creme formula is that you get mattes that are mattes and shimmers that are shimmers. You don't get that sort of in-between type of sheen that you get from the wet dry, but it's still very blendable. I will explain a little bit more in the demo later on in this video, but that's kind of a quick summary of what this formula is like. Now let's talk about the color story, and I'm just gonna get the elephant out of the room. This palette, it's called Forbidden Pink. It has pink packaging, baby pink packaging, but when you open it up, it looks pretty brown. You're like, where's the pink? It's almost like it's a joke. I actually think it's pretty funny. It's almost like it's a joke that the pink was so forbidden, it's like not even in the palette. And I kind of wonder if this is a little bit of maybe Tom Ford playing fun at the fact that we have had so many pink palettes released on the market, maybe like the past 2 or 3 years. It's been a very popular color story. So I think it is a little bit funny that this is called Forbidden Pink. The packaging is pink, but there ain't that much pink in this palette. But you know what, friends? I do think that this palette, I think the color story does have a very rosy character that kind of goes along with the theme of the collection. Let me show you guys some close-ups of this palette. When I'm reading the description online, it describes these colors as a rosy brown, a shimmering pale rose gold, a shimmering copper, and deep chocolate shades. Let me show you the swatches. You guys can comment down below and let me know if you agree with the description of these shade names. While it looks very brown in the pan, when you swatch it and when you get it on the eyes, which you guys will see during the demo in just a second, it does look very rosy. So for me, this isn't so much a pink palette, It's actually more of a rose palette to go along with the Rose Prick collection. Hopefully that description is helpful for you guys. Once again, comment down below and let me know if you agree. It's really a couple of very rosy tone shadows mixed with a chocolate brown. A couple of other small details about this palette. This is what the packaging looks like, what the box looks like. It is made in Italy. It does not say the shelf life on the component or on the box, unfortunately. Same thing with Electric Cherry. I don't know why they're not listing it on there, but the color creme formula that I bought from last year, it still works very, very well. So I think that the shelf life is pretty good. Also, as usual, it comes with the standard little, you know, kind of velour or microfiber pouch. In terms of availability, I'm currently seeing this available at a lot of US retailers as opposed to the Cherry collection from Tom Ford. I purchased this one from Bloomingdale's. I think it was about $90, which is typical for Tom Ford. I am seeing it now on Bergdorf Goodman for like a little bit more. I think maybe it just maybe includes free shipping or something like that. But I will keep you guys updated on where you can get this palette. I will link all of the information about availability down below because it kind of changes day to day. These palettes, they pop up on different sites. So subscribe to my channel and also follow me on Instagram if you guys want more real-time updates about when these palettes become available at different retailers. And once again, I'll have all of that down below to help you guys figure out where is maybe the best place to get this for you. And with that, friends, those are all the basic details and the swatches. Now we're gonna get into a demo. I'm gonna show you guys how to create a beautiful, soft, sultry look using all 4 of the shades and give you a little bit more information about the formula and how each of the shades apply. So let's get into that. All right, friends, let's get into the demo of Forbidden Pink. I'm gonna do kind of like a sultry but wearable look for you all, as I usually do. I'm gonna first dip into the lighter of the 2 mattes here with a crease brush. And I do recommend, if you guys have any issues with this formula skipping on the eyelid or maybe getting a little bit patchy, or if you have any issues with hard pan, which some people said when this formula first launched, I would recommend like don't use a very sticky eye primer. Don't have a super sticky base because this formula is very finely milled and it has a little bit of creaminess to it already. So if you put it on a very sticky base, you're gonna be kind of going back and forth from like a sticky base to a cream formula, and that's what creates the hard pan, and that's kind of what creates the patchiness. So I would recommend going in with either like more of a matte base or lightly powder the eyelids a little bit. I'm not using like a super dewy concealer today. So as you can see, it's blending out really, really well, and it has a really pretty softness to it. And I just went in with a little bit more there. So you can kind of see if you want to build it up, you definitely can. And also notice how this brown, it has kind of like a nice rosy undertone to it. It's definitely a brown, it's not a pink, but it has a rosy undertone to it. I feel like most of us can agree with that, and it's just a super nice natural shade. Next, I'm gonna go into this sort of rose gold shade or like rosy brown shimmer, and I'm gonna apply that all over the eye. And this is a very lovely neutral shade. I mean, these colors are not groundbreaking, but I think they're very flattering for a lot of people. These shadows also, they're not super high shine. See how you get a little bit of shimmer? I am sitting in front of a window. I film in natural light, so it's gonna look a little bit brighter than if you were kind of in a more shadowy atmosphere, but you can see it's very natural and soft. It doesn't emphasize any like wrinkles or anything, like any dryness that maybe you have on your eyelids, which is important to me because my eyelids get very, very dry and I'm kind of like eczema prone. It doesn't tug at your skin. It blends super duper well. Once again, if you have a very sticky base, it might be a little bit harder to blend. Next, I'm just taking that same color on the lower lash line, just kind of connecting what we did to the top. You know, these tutorials are not really meant to be difficult to do. They're meant to be easy to do and to really demonstrate how easy it is to get a pretty look without like having to try too hard. I will also take a little bit of that lighter matte and just kind of put that here on the outer corner. Next, I'm going to deepen up the look just a little bit with the darker matte. Now this is a much like more chocolatey, darker brown, and I'm using a fluffy brush to just kind of blend that into the crease. You kind of can't go wrong with this quad because all of the colors just go very well together and they're just super natural. And you can tell the difference there between this eye and this eye. I think I'm gonna go in with a pencil brush and do just a little bit more like pointed depth. And I'm kind of mixing these two colors together because I just want to get it, yeah. So it's a little bit more of like a V shape. I don't know, that's what I'm going for today. I think that this creme formula, while you can get good pigmentation, I do think that it's meant to be a little bit more blended out, not super like pointed pigment, color blocking. I feel like it's meant to be soft and blendable, kind of like the wet dry. I think that's kind of Tom Ford's vibe in general. See how it's a little patchy right there? It's just because I have to blend out the edges. It's not really designed to be ultra pigmented and precise, and I don't really think that's what the Tom Ford customer usually wants anyway. So I kind of see the creme formula as almost like the more matte and less like sheeny version of the wet dry. I'm now taking this little hourglass powder in dim light. It's just a natural shade. If you have any kind of pressed powder, that will work. And I'm blending around the edges there because I don't want to drag the color out anymore. I just want to like soften up that edge right there. Lastly, I'm going to go in with a more precise flat brush and I'm going to go into this shade. See how this one is much more warmer in tone and this one is cooler in tone? It's kind of nice that you can sort of go more cool toned if you would like to, or go more warm toned if you would like to. But I like to use all the colors when I do a look with this palette. And I'm gonna apply this right in the center. See, this is the shade that gives a little bit more pop, especially when it's layered on top of the other ones. You could definitely put this all over the lid. I'm gonna put that in the inner corner also. All right, friends, I'm gonna go pop on some eyeliner, some mascara, and then I will be right back. All right, friends, and this is the final look. I will link the eyeliner and the mascara and what is on my lips in the description box down below, but I just wanna show you what the final look with this quad looks like. I really like that bit of illumination in the center of the eye from that sort of like pewtery shade or silvery shade. And then I also really enjoy the warmth that the browns and that kind of rose gold color give to the eye as well. And when you see it on the face, comment down below and let me know if you agree. I do think that it imparts a pink nature. I think that it looks kind of rosy at the end of the day. It's definitely not screaming pink, but it's screaming to me like a neutral, sultry sort of brown look with a rosy undertone. So just want to show you what this looks like. Once again, comment down below and let me know what you thought of this look. I hope that demo was helpful for you guys. I decided to do a different look today than the one I did in the demo because I just wanted to show you guys the versatility of this palette. Today I did a simpler look. I just went into these two shades. I popped this lighter brown in the crease and then I popped the sort of cooler tone. They call it a rose gold. I think it's a little bit more of like a cool tone rose champagne, I guess, but I popped that all over just to kind of show you guys the versatility. Maybe you could wear this during the day and then you could kind of go into these two shades if you wanted more depth, more sultriness, etc. It's also a lot less warm toned if you don't go into this shade. So you have some options there. What I want to do next is show you guys some comparisons against the other palettes in the color creme formula from Tom Ford. Before I get into this, I just want to let you guys know when I first ordered these palettes last year, one of them did come shattered and then the other one, in an ironic twist, I dropped on the floor and also shattered. So two of my palettes look pretty beat up. I just pressed the formula back in, but it's like I always get somebody commenting like, ew, look at her palettes. Guys, these are $90 palettes. I was refunded by Sephora for the one that was sent to me that was broken, but I didn't want to throw it out because I thought that would be super wasteful. So my palettes don't look super pretty, but the swatches are legit. So let's get into it. The first one I want to show you guys is the Rose Topaz shade. This is the other one that comes in the Rose Per collection. I have the one that's just in the regular packaging. Now, Rose Topaz, I think that, you know, it has some similarities to Forbidden Pink. I think that they picked this squad because it's called Rose Topaz and this is supposed to be a rose collection. This one is probably one of my lesser favorites out of the four. It is a little bit light. I think some people struggled with the lighter matte shade that is in this palette. And so if you're looking for a little bit more depth and maybe a little bit more warmth, I think Forbidden Pink is probably the better option. But Rose Topaz is still a really beautiful palette, and it's kind of the go-to if you want something that is cooler toned from this range. Next up, we have Smokey Quartz. Now, this is an all matte palette. That's probably the biggest difference here. I like to use this palette as an extension palette, as a partner or companion palette to the other Tom Ford palettes that I have in my collection, especially because we don't get like a ton of true mattes like in the wet dry formula, for example. So it's almost like this palette is kind of an extension of the other ones. It's a lot of really beautiful neutral mattes. And so I think if you're going to get just Smokey Quartz, you have to really enjoy that smoky matte look. Otherwise, I think this makes a really beautiful companion palette. And then lastly, we have Tiger Eye. I told you guys when these palettes first launched, this was my favorite of the three. This palette is a little bit lighter and brighter. It's more shimmery. There's only one matte in this palette. It has more of a like gold and peachy character to it. I really like to wear this palette in the summer and create a really pretty kind of bronze goddess type of look. Whereas I think with Forbidden Pink, this is a little bit deeper, more sultry. I kind of see myself wearing Tiger Eye during the day and Forbidden Pink at night. I think they are definitely different enough that you could own both. And then one last comparison for you guys, because when I tried this palette, I did definitely think of Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. So I wanted to show you a comparison up against the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams Quad that came out last year. This is the slightly deeper and richer version of the original Pillow Talk Quad from Charlotte Tilbury. And you know what, friends? I actually think that these palettes, they are pretty similar. You know, I really don't think that you need to own both. I think the biggest difference here is that the Tom Ford Creme formula, it is a much softer formula. So if you kind of like the tones from Charlotte Tilbury, but I know that a lot of you guys, you find her eyeshadows to be a little bit too pigmented and foiled, then I think the Tom Ford Forbidden Pink is a great option. But I just want to show this to you guys so you can see these colors are not super novel. You probably have these colors in your collection. All right, friends, I hope that those comparisons were helpful. Now it is time for my final thoughts. So what do I think of this new Forbidden Pink palette from Tom Ford? If you couldn't tell already, I love it. I absolutely love this quad. I love the packaging. I love the color story. I think the formula is great. I think that this color story is going to be pretty universally flattering to a lot of people. It's very neutral, but I like the fact that I have a lighter matte, a darker matte, I have a cooler tone shimmer, and a warmer tone shimmer. So I feel like I get some good balance here. I definitely have some options. You guys saw in the demo, I did a more sultry look with a little bit more depth, and then today I have kind of a lighter, I don't want to say more wearable, but I just have a lighter, more natural look today. The thing about a lot of Tom Ford palettes that I don't like is that you get a lot of similar shades. Like with Metal Lust, for example, I know that a lot of people really like the formula of that palette, and I also enjoy the formula, but for me, that palette, the shades were just too close together. There's not enough differentiation in the shades, and I feel like here we at least get that. This palette is kind of foolproof because all of the colors, they're pretty neutral and they really seamlessly blend together. Talking about the formula specifically, if you've watched my reviews before, you already know that I enjoy the creme formula. I have said that I think I like the wet dry formula just a little bit better, but I think that this palette, I don't know what it is, it's good. It's really blendable and has a little bit of creaminess. It goes on the eyes so nicely. I actually think that this palette, I don't know, for whatever reason, I think that the quality of the creme formula is even better than the original three. I like the way that this blends a lot more than Smokey Quartz and Rose Topaz. Tiger Eye is a little bit different because it's very shimmery, but I think the formula here, they nailed it. They did a really good job. I feel really comfortable recommending it to you all. I really like the way that the colors go on the eyes, and I just think it's a super user-friendly palette. Is it worth the $90 price tag? You know, I think that Tom Ford palettes in general, they're pretty overpriced. $90 is a lot for 4 shades, but nonetheless, I still collect them. I still enjoy them. I think that because the formula here is good, once again, I feel comfortable recommending it to you. I would just ask yourself, you know, do you already have this in your collection? I feel like a lot of you, you're looking for your first Tom Ford palette. A lot of you are looking for your first Tom Ford creme formula palette. And if that's your situation, then I recommend this. I think that this is a really good palette if you don't already have a lot of Tom Ford in your collection, because it's such a really nice, safe, neutral color story. But that being said, this is nothing groundbreaking. It really isn't. Like, if you have a lot of Charlotte Tilbury palettes, you already have this color story. You saw the comparison I did with the Pillow Talk Dreams. I don't feel like a lot of people really need this palette. I don't think you need to go crazy. If you're on a low buy, you don't need to pay $90 for this. You don't need to like rush out and get it because it has pink packaging. It's a very basic, some might say boring color story, but a lot of you guys already bought this palette. It seems like a lot of people, they enjoy this color story. And so if this is something you know you're going to enjoy and you're kind of already in the market for a Tom Ford palette, I really do recommend this. I love it. I think it's going to be a really great kind of neutral go-to for me. The only other thing that I will mention, just for those who are maybe choosing between this and maybe one in the wet dry formula, is that I do feel like the creme formula creases a little bit more easily. Like by the very end of the day, after I've been wearing this for a couple of hours, I do see a little bit of creasing. I think that the longevity of the wet dry is just a little bit better, but for me, it's not really a reason to not buy this. If you have a lot of issues with your eyeshadow creasing, or maybe your eyelids are a little bit more oily, maybe you go for the wet dry. That's the only thing that I would say about this that was kind of like a downside, other than the color story being like super dupable. And yeah, that's all I have to say, friends. I hope that this review was helpful. Now it is your turn. Sound off in those comments down below and let me know all of your thoughts about this palette. I know that a lot of you guys already picked this up, and so please let us know. Did you also like it? Are you also having a great experience with it? I would love to know all of your thoughts. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. I would very much appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, what are you waiting for? I do reviews of new makeup like this all the time. I also do a lot of favorites videos and get ready with me's, helpful tutorials. I like to say that I spend my money so that you don't have to. So definitely head on over to my channel page to check out the rest of my content and subscribe to my channel. And with that, friends, I hope that you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.